Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of STVCastle Chess. This is episode number 28. And before we begin here, I just want to let you guys know that I have a Ko-fi account, have a Ko-fi page. So if you feel led to, only if you want to, please feel free to donate to my Ko-fi page so that you can get more chess content along the way, such as the goal that I'm trying to achieve here is to one day attend a chess tournament in the state of Ohio. That's a work in progress, but if you feel led to donate, there you go with the Ko-fi page. And also, before you leave this video, please leave this a like. Give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel and if you want to have more updates for chess-related content, please click the notification bell so that you can receive the updates. But anyway, let's get to this game, and this is another game that I played recently. And it features a gambit that I often don't see, although it's probably more common with many other chess players out there. It's called the Englund Gambit. And admittedly, I have not studied the Englund Gambit all that much. So this was like more of a rarity for me when I saw this. But I played a game here against Serg 2008. Hope I'm saying his username right. And the interesting thing about this is that he is an IM. And for those of you who don't know what that means, IM, that means International Master. So I'm dealing with an International Master for an opponent, which I have played Masters before in my time, but not so good success. So this was like one of those rare opportunities for me to show what I could do against an International Master. So let's see how I did. Let's start the game here. I have the white pieces. Serg 2008 has the black pieces. I start off with d4, e5. That is basically the Englund Gambit. And I normally don't face this. I normally don't face this kind of opening from black. So I always seem to ask myself, okay, there's got to be a catch here, right? So I don't go ahead and take that pawn. Instead, I move my knight to c3. I want to focus on development instead of just getting material. Knight c6, attacking that pawn of mine. I move my pawn forward to d5, attacking that knight. Knight c to e7, he retreats his knight. e4, I grab the center with the pawns. d6, knight f3, get another knight out there. Knight g6, bishop e2. I'm trying to develop my pieces as quickly as I can. I don't want to mess around. I don't want to take any material unnecessarily. Bishop to e7. Bishop to e3, f5. Now, here is a part of the game right away where I did make a mistake, and I fully admit this, because I wasn't counting on this pawn that Serg just moved to f5. I wasn't counting on him just moving that pawn furthermore, and I'll explain why in a minute. Queen d2, and that was what really did me in at the time being, because here's what Serg did. f4. He forces me to give up a bishop very quickly in the game, and early on you would think, okay, this is not going to look good for me, and you'd be right, because this is the type of game where usually I get nervous. I'm being honest with you guys. I get nervous when I get into this position where I have to give up material like a bishop early. But here's the tip I want to give you guys here, because I'm sure early in your chess careers and your journeys, you've probably experienced this where you've made a mistake like this. Here's my advice here, my tip. Don't give up. Even when you encounter an issue like this, don't give up. So what is the move that I do make here in response? What do? I go ahead and capture that pawn way over there on a7. Bishop captures pawn a7, which of course I still go down in material. But one thing that it does do is that it forces Serg not to castle queenside. I get rid of that option for him, if nothing else. Rook takes bishop a7. So in times like this, guys, you just can't worry about what's going on. Yes, you're down in material, bishop to a pawn, but don't worry about it. I go ahead with my development. I castle kingside. Knight to f6. Rook f to b1. Now, knowing this, knowing that there's not much forming on black's queen side, despite the rook taking that bishop, I have to set the tone there on the queen side myself, which is why I slid that rook from f to b1. Black goes ahead and castles. a4. Now you start to see what I'm trying to do here. See that? a4. c6, going after my pawn. D takes c6, b takes c6, b4. You see what I'm developing here with those pawns. Next move is bishop to a6. He's clearly going after this bishop right here. And before I go on, guys, I do know that the board setup, it's supposed to be white squares on the right-hand side instead of black squares. That's not on me. That's on the website, chessclub.com, just so you guys know. b5, I block that bishop. Bishop retreats to b7. I go ahead and attack the rook. Pawn goes up to b6. I do not trade pawns here. I could have done that, but I chose to advance the pawn forward, attacking that rook. Rook goes back to a8. Pawn goes up to a5, giving support with that other pawn. Knight to d7. Knight to a4. If you notice here on the queen side, guys, I started to develop some sort of cluster here. A good cluster where you have supporting pieces all connected to each other, whereas black did not have that on his queen side. That was the only benefit that I could see from sacrificing my bishop a long time ago. Bishop goes back to a6 again. c4. I block that bishop's path into capturing my bishop. Rook goes to b8. I move my bishop to d3. Rook f6. Rook a3. Knight g to f8. Rook to c3. Knight to e6, and we're going to pause right here. Now, remember the last episode where I talked about loaded positions, where you have to take out the more immediate threat. Now, I notice what Serg is trying to do here in the center. He's trying to position his pieces so that he can have an attack going on with my more major pieces like the rooks and the queen. I know that Serg can move his knight over here to d4, for example. That is a threat that comes out. But here's the tip that I want to provide for you guys. When you see your opponent trying to load up the position in the center of the board on purpose, just like you're seeing here, when you see that, don't overreact. That is definitely what I would suggest to you guys. Don't overreact. Obviously, your opponent is trying to make something happen. Your opponent is trying to make something happen by loading the position the way that he or she is, especially in the center of the board here. You see what I'm talking about? You have 4 pawns right here forming a cluster. Then you have 2 knights here. You have a rook over here, and you have a bishop on the flank. Something's going to get going here by all indications, but don't overreact. Play your game. Go into defense mode. Whether you're white or black, going into defense mode is the best option here. I pull my bishop back to e2. Knight d to c5. Clearly attacking that knight. So I go ahead and do that. Take, take. We exchange knights. Knight takes c5, knight takes c5. I go ahead and move my queen over to c2. Queen to d7. Rook to d1. Now, there are many times in games where I will do this, where I will clearly see my opponent move up his or her queen over to a position like this. And so I match it with my rook, trying to put pressure on that queen. Because if we get into exchanges for pawns, for example, and the queen gets exposed, then I can go in with my rook and take the queen. That is the idea. Serg notices this and moves his queen right away to e6. But the point is still noted. Knight to g5. I attack the queen again, this time with the knight. Queen goes back to d7. Putting that queen right back in that position with the rook on that file. Knight goes back to f3. h6. Now, before I wrap this game up, I want you guys to pay attention to the clocks, to the time limits that we have here. I have 1 minute 34 seconds on my clock. Serg, on the other hand, only has 21 seconds to work with. So when you take that into account, you can see why Serg made the moves that he did, because he was having time trouble, whereas I had more time to work with. That is a factor, and that is the tip I'm going to provide real quick here. When you know that the clock is on your side in games like this, use it. Use that advantage for what it's worth. If the clock is your friend, act accordingly. It's that simple. I go ahead and capture that pawn. Knight takes pawn e5. And here we go. This is what I was talking about. Black cannot capture that knight back with the pawn, because if he does, there again, I'm going to capture that queen with the rook. Serg knows that. Being an international master, he knows that. Serg moves his queen back to e8 with only 16 seconds to go on his clock. And this was the last move of the game because of time trouble. Not the best move on my part. Bishop goes to g4. If I could play it back, I would have moved the knight out of the way, because obviously the next move Serg would have made, I think, would have been pawn captures knight. Pawn captures knight on e5. But no matter, because black ran out of time. Serg ran out of time. There was no more move to be made. So what kind of summary would I give this game? Well, early on, when I was having trouble with that bishop and I had to sacrifice it on a7, just getting a pawn back in return. Normally, those games would have turned out to be such disasters for me. Many years ago, that would have been it for me. But as I've gotten older, as I've been playing more chess throughout all my years playing this game, guys, it stands to reason that you can't give up on a position. Don't give up on a position. Play it out. Sometimes the best strategy, in summary, guys, sometimes the best strategy in chaotic games like this, guys, is to play it out. Because, yeah, you can make a mistake yourself early on, but what if 4 or 5 moves later your opponent makes a mistake? That's why you got to play it out. You can't just give up on a position so easily. Play it out. See if you can work it out on the chessboard. And if you are able to do it, then that's how you get better. That's how you improve as a chess player. And when I look back at this game, I can clearly tell that certain things about how I play the game of chess have improved over time. And being able to score this victory over an international master, Niam, Serg 2008, it's definitely a big accomplishment on my part. And yes, it's because of time trouble, but still, a win is a win. And however you can get it, really, however you can get it, that's fine by me. So let me know what you guys think about this game in the comment section below. I highly appreciate you guys commenting. It helps out with the algorithm, of course. And please, like I said before, leave a like, give this video a thumbs up, and also, I'm going to let you guys know when I start doing live streams of playing online chess, whether it's here on chessclub.com or leechess.org. That is something that pretty soon here you're going to start seeing. And that's not going to be an everyday thing, but that's not going to be an everyday, every week thing, but it's going to be something where when I have time to do it, I'll do it. Just so you guys can get something out of what I do here for STVCastle Chess. And furthermore, this is something that I take seriously. So let me know what you guys think of this game in the comment section below. I'll provide a link to this game for the analysis of this game in the description box below. Let me know what you guys think of the presentation of these games, and I highly appreciate any conversation that you guys may have about the game of chess. This is Stephen Vitt reporting. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care.